My wife's family always had a special talent for making me feel like I never truly belonged among them, like no matter what I did, I would forever remain the outsider they tolerated only out of obligation. For years I ignored their taunts, their snide looks, their whispered jokes, and the way they treated my presence like some inconvenience they reluctantly accepted because my wife insisted. But everything changed the night of that so-called family dinner, the night that flipped my entire life upside down and forced me to look at myself, really look at myself, and realize just how much disrespect I had allowed in the name of peace. My wife had begged me to come along because her family wanted a positive evening together, but I already knew their positivity was nothing more than a mask stretched across their judgmental faces. Still, I went because she asked softly, and because I believed showing up mattered. Little did I know that this dinner would be the turning point of everything to come. When we arrived, the house looked warm and inviting, but the moment I stepped inside, I felt that familiar chill of being sized up from head to toe, like they were examining a product they regretted buying. Her mother greeted my wife with a hug, then threw me a smile so painfully fake it could have cracked if she held it 1 second too long. Her father nodded at me with the enthusiasm of someone forced to acknowledge a stranger. And her siblings, they smirked before I even sat down, which told me everything I needed to know about how the evening would go. The first 30 minutes were the usual torture. Her mom bragged about her friends, children getting promotions. Her dad talked about his business expansions, and her siblings showed off their new luxury items. Every accomplishment was thrown around like a challenge, as if daring me to admit I couldn't compete. But I stayed quiet, sipping water, pretending I didn't notice the pointed remarks slipping between their conversations. Then came the moment that cracked the shell I'd been living in. Her mother placed her fork down slowly, leaned back with theatrical confidence, and asked, "So, when exactly are you planning to get a job that actually pays well?" My wife froze, her smile collapsing instantly. Her siblings exchanged gleeful looks, sensing drama. Her father pretended to stay neutral, though I could see the amusement twitching in his lips. I took a breath and replied calmly, "I'm doing perfectly fine with my current job." But her brother immediately jumped in with, "Fine. Bro, your salary is like my assistant's salary. Don't you think our sister deserves someone more successful?" Laughter erupted around the table except from my wife, who whispered, "Mom, stop." But her mother cut her off with, "We're being honest. Sometimes honesty is necessary." That's when something inside me went silent, not angry, not emotional, silent. The kind of silence that hits deeper than shouting ever could. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't defend myself. I simply looked at each of them, really looked, and saw the truth. They didn't respect me, and they never would, no matter what I did. I slowly put my fork down, wiped my fingers, stood up, and said, "Thank you for the dinner." My wife's eyes widened. Her family stared, stunned, waiting for me to protest or argue or at least show some reaction. But I didn't. I just walked out with a calmness that scared them more than any confrontation would have. My wife ran after me, asking what happened, but I simply said, "I need some time." She nodded, torn between anger at them and worry for me. That night, instead of going home, I went to my office. I sat at my desk and stared at the walls for a long time before finally opening my resignation letter, the one I had drafted months ago but never had the courage to send. At 2:14 a.m., I clicked Submit. The next morning, I applied for a leadership position at a rising company that had been reaching out to me for months. I knew it would demand more of me, but for the first time in years, I felt alive. Over the next few weeks, I worked harder than I ever had in my life. Late nights, early mornings, nonstop learning, nonstop grinding. My wife supported me completely. She apologized countless times for her family's behavior, but I told her, "Don't fight them. Let me handle myself." And I meant it. The transformation wasn't overnight, but when it came, it was powerful. I got the new job, not as an average employee, but as someone chosen specifically to rebuild a failing department. Within months, I turned that department around, secured massive clients, and doubled their revenue. My company rewarded me with a promotion and a salary her family wouldn't even believe if I told them. Suddenly, I wasn't the same man they mocked at that dinner table. I became someone stronger, sharper, more capable than even I thought possible. My confidence returned, not as arrogance, but as quiet strength. And life, in its beautiful sense of timing, delivered the most unexpected twist. Her father called me one evening, voice trembling. "Son, can you come over? We need your help." Their business was collapsing. A major investor backed out, the company was drowning in losses, and they had no idea how to survive. For the first time ever, they needed me. When I walked into their house the next day, the same people who mocked me sat there with lowered heads, voices small, pride shattered. Her mother couldn't even meet my eyes. Her brother, the one who laughed the loudest, looked like he hadn't slept in days. They explained everything. And when they finished, her mother whispered, "We were sorry for how we treated you, truly." I didn't gloat. I didn't insult them. I simply said, "I'm helping because you're my wife's family, but never mistake silence for weakness again." Their faces drained of color. Over the next few months, I helped restructure their business, negotiate deals, and bring in new investors. Their company survived because of me, the same man they once mocked as not good enough. My wife cried when she realized how far I had come, whispering, "They'll never treat you the same again." And she was right. They didn't. They couldn't. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't shouting, fighting, or proving yourself in the moment. Sometimes the greatest revenge is leveling up so far above them that they have no choice but to respect the person they once tried to break. And now, whenever I walk into that home, they greet me with sincerity, not fake smiles. Not because they love me, no, but because they finally understand who I really am.